Scotland is blessed with probably the most breathtaking scenery in the entire United Kingdom, and surely none more so than here on the stunningly beautiful west coast. It's an area pitted with numerous lochs and craggy outcrops. Dunoon on the Holy Loch is one of many pretty coastal resorts that shelter here from the wild westerly winds, and boasts a history with the sea as compelling as any. The event attracts many of the top names from offshore powerboating, offshore circuit racing, ski racing and British Northern racing. And although this is serious racing, there's a refreshing element of relaxation and fun. Mark Greenaway is one of the UK's top OCR drivers, and he was experimenting with a new secret weapon.
Got a lighter navigator as well, 4-stone lighter to be precise, so that should make a big difference.
How big a difference do you think that really will make?
In all honesty, I should imagine it will make about 2 miles an hour difference. My normal navigator weighs about 14 stone, so if you're listening, Stuart, I'm sorry, mate.
Well, Mark Greenaway's navigator then saving him around 4 stones in excess baggage. But was she looking forward to the new experience?
Well, Julia, you're Mark Greenaway's new secret weapon, and your first time in a boat, I think.
Yeah, as a cage driver it is anyway.
You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, my adrenaline's surging. I'm meant to sleep properly tonight as well. Last night, my stomach's all in knots.
Joe Grant was another guest relishing the prospect of an adrenaline rush. But was he worried that last year's navigator in this boat was thrown out?
Not at all. Not at all. I've thought about it, but I was also navigating last year for the first day, and Graham, my brother-in-law, done it the second day, and he came out, but it was a big swell, and he did get a fright. But I'm not really that worried. I've thought about it, and it doesn't worry me.
Meanwhile, the man standing accused of the deed, Robert McCarthy, was defending his reputation and describing the merits of his visit.
No, we're hoping to keep them all in this year. The reputation is only the one, and we don't tip them out every race. No, we're looking forward to it. It's a bit on the calm side, but the weather's with us. Looking forward to a good one.
You obviously like racing here. Is it the format, the course, or what is the attraction to coming to Dunoon?
Just the place in general. We've been here all week skiing on the loch, and we've just had a fantastic week's holiday. The hospitality, just everything about the place, really.
Nick Barsh arrives back in Dunoon, 7 times a national champion and overall winner here in 1993. He obviously likes it and described why he considers the format as a step in the right direction.
I think it could well be. We've tried it at Carline Bay this year, as you're aware, and it was very successful. The drivers enjoyed it, and it's certainly good for the spectators. It stops a long progression of drawn-out boats, like a trail going around the course. It's a little bit more work for the organisers, but at the end of the day, it's sponsorship and excitement that we're after, and I think it's got to be the way to go.
Eddie Moyle, on the other hand, is a freshman with little experience, a comparatively untried rig, but a confidence that the weather would suit his cause.
Well, Ed Moyle, you're going to start as one of the favourites today, but a 2.5 litre engine on an 18-foot boat sounds a bit of a handful.
Well, it certainly is, yeah, but it's very flat conditions out there today, so we think we should go quite well.
And what sort of speeds do you think you can attain with this boat?
Well, if it's very, very flat, we should think very close to the 90s.
Top offshore powerboat representative was Howie Lucas with his immaculately prepared Frode. He too was confident, but well aware of the problems he suffered in '93.
Well, we always start confident. Last year we did have a few problems. Samsung were also racing very well, and I think to beat that sort of outfit you need to be on the ball. We had a few problems with the boat, but this year the boat's running well, so we'll have to see. It's flat, which isn't good for us because it's not perhaps as quick as the 18s, but we're fairly confident.
So as Heat 1 set off, it was a question of per many 3 from loads. It was warm, it was flat, there was a large crowd, and the action was fast. And first to break was Eddie Moyle in his flying machine. Inexperienced he might have been, but backwards and coming forwards he certainly wasn't. The ground speed on the helicopter here around 90 miles per hour. Well, that took everyone by surprise, but not least the other 2.5 litre boats in his class. And so the first lap, including the start, was completed in a convincing style at over 80 miles per hour, with 100% concentration required on the tiny circuit. Not unexpectedly, however, Nick Barsh and Steve Kent in A28 Samsung cameras were heading the 2-litre division. But for the UK's crack crew in this class, overall honours as the goal, and despite of a 70 horsepower deficit, they were close behind in 4th. And ahead of Mark Greenaway, who in spite of his new lightweight crew and an extra 2 miles per hour, was already 2.5 seconds behind. Disappointment too for Peter Lee and Mike Horn in the impressively rigged Air Tours Phantom, widely tipped for overall honours. This was well off the pace for the British record speed holder. There was better news for B7 Dave Yeoman, however. In the 1.3 litre division, he was right behind the favourite, Gary Archer. And only 4 seconds adrift, Howie Lucas in the Froday, number 101. Although in fairness to the offshore man, this just wasn't his water. For him, a 15-foot swell would have been the order of the day. Well, elsewhere there were other notable performances. Adrian Lean and Anne Ashcroft in Sumo 2 were 5th in the hottest division, 2 litre. While McCarthy, number 90, had managed to keep his crew in the boat so far, as he battled on in 4th. Ahead of Barry Evans and another of the guest navigators, Victoria Roberts and Wallacey in C42 Dream On. And even here, in the 8th place, the overall speeds were over 70 miles per hour. And 3rd in the smallest class, 1.3 litre, another battling performance. This time, Phil White and Graham Horn, number 25, Tasmanian Devil. Same division, just 12 seconds behind, Davey Mowat and Billy Shirley were about to be lapped by the high-flying Moyle, who is now over half a mile up. Well, that's the way it stayed in Heat 1, with Moyle, number 11, keeping up the tempo all the way. The perfect answer to the sceptics, including myself, who feared the tiny Phantom might be just a little too lively. Well, in 2 litre, Barsh and Kent also had the perfect start, though I suspect slightly disappointed. It wasn't overall. David Yeoman and his guest, Kelly Ryan, duly completed the route at 1.3 at an average of 63.2 miles per hour. And after a short break, everyone got ready for Heat 2. Remember, it's 4 heats altogether in the revolutionary format. 3 non-starters this time, number 2, Adrian Lean and Anne Ashcroft, B77, Gary and Angela Archer, and number 54, Kim Wilson and Steve Ball. They went walkabout on the seabed. So the name of the game in the 2nd heat then was to keep an eye on Moyle, but when the green flag went up, he was off, proving once again you can't keep a good man down. And look at the concentration here. One does tend to get the impression he was out there to win. Closest to Moyle was Tristan Prentice, a local ski racer, and normally he'd be responsible for a man on a rope. This though was Bliss, no one to slow him down. There were tears though in the Air Tours camp. This was certainly no holiday for Peter Lee, only 3rd for the UK's fastest 2.5 litre offshore driver. Better news on the other hand for number 4, Rick Mottram and Roger Parkin. Nothing from the 1st heat, but this was 4th in the brightly coloured Hellraiser. So back to 2 litre, and Barsh and Kent were at it again, although Greenaway on this occasion was certainly a lot closer. 3rd in 2 litre, McCarthy was passing his own little milestone. He'd accomplished 1.5 races with his navigator still in the boat. But note the navigator still not letting go the handle. By lap 5, things had changed a little. Lee had got by Prentice, who was now under threat from Barsh, who in turn hadn't quite shaken off Greenaway. But up front, Moyle had shaken off everybody. He went on to record his 2nd overall victory of the challenge, this time at an average of over 90 miles per hour. It was stunning stuff. Well, Barsh and Kent followed suit to put themselves in pole position in 2 litre, going into day 2, and was still a chance of overall honours. Whilst in 1.3 litre, Gary Archer's absence meant it was an almost unopposed run to the line for Dave Yeoman. And after 2 rounds then, Moyle and Weston's stunning speed accumulating 800 points, with Prentice and Cairns well pleased with 720, but Lee adrift in 3rd. In 2 litre, Barsh and Kent, also with a clean sweep, leave Greenaway and Downing with plenty to think about on day 2, while McCarthy's Velcro holds tight in 3rd. And in 1.3 litre it was Yeoman and Ryan all the way, with no one else in sight. There were 2 heats of powerboating to go, and a few questions still to be answered. This was Heat 3. Remember, Moore's the man to watch. Number 11 Shocker has proved unstoppable so far. Well, that was Heat 3, with few surprises in the end. Yes, Moore won again overall, Bosch won 2 litre again, and Yeoman won 1.3 again. Well, you can't have it all, the pictures were good. So, straight into number 4, and that's the final heat. One last chance for the Nurley winners to convert their promises into points. Well, they didn't do a lot at the start. That man Moyle was still on the boil. And short of building a brick wall across the course, little else it appeared was going to spoil his party. Once again, it was 90 miles per hour, and that was proving too hot for the rest to handle. There was a bit of a change though behind. Greenaway with his new lighter navigator, and now with the benefit of unleaded fuel, was up with Lee in second and on the inside. The boy's definitely learning. And now the cheeky bit. Let's just not keep up with the bigger engines. Let's go past. The question though was, could he stay there? No doubt about Moore's staying power though. Anyone who dared get near his transom was extinguished with consummate ease. Mind you, having said that, Lee's little battle with Greenaway was having the effect on the proceedings, and they were closing with Prentice 523 right behind. His designs were on silver overall. It was turning out to be a good weekend for Prentice. He towed Mackenzie to silver in the speed ski, although in this race it was to end in mechanical failure for the genial Scot. It was another pretty fair day too for Barry Evans. Fourth here in such hallowed company was pleasing, as I'm sure it was for Dave Yeoman, still in the driving seat of 1.3 mod. And back in the action after that sinking feeling, Kim Wilson and Steve Paul lead 1.3 standard. Poor old Howie though, no luck again. Nothing wrong with the boat or the driver this time, just on conditions. Although right behind Lucas, and just when it looked all over, there were murmurs of a sensation. And here's why. Lee had put his considerable weight behind one final effort to rob Moyle of his superiority, and had closed to within 4 seconds. Meanwhile, Bosch, having long given up any hopes of repeating his overall success of 93, was settling down to a comfortable 4th, knowing that was good enough for 2 litre. While McCarthy 6th overall and 3rd in class, still hadn't dumped his navigator in the drink, although he had tried pretty hard. Meanwhile, back at the front, Lee's challenge on the leader was beginning to fizzle out. The gap was again over 1/4 of a mile. But Lee, if nothing else, is a battler, and with one final fling, he tried to restore a little respectability back into his score. But it all proved a little too much in the end. Moyle hadn't got this far to chuck it all away in the end. He crossed the line first for the 4th occasion, receiving a friendly pat on the head for his trouble. And I'm sure he wasn't too worried about that. Well, Marsh duly completed the route of 2 litre for his 4th win of the weekend, as did David Yeoman in the 1.3 litre division. Well, it was only 2 victories for Steve Ball and Kim Wilson after their ducking, but that was good enough for 1.3 standard. And that meant it was time for something a little more traditional, as a large crowd gathered to welcome the winners. And everyone agreed it had been a great weekend.
Very pleased. Back again at dunoon next year, we hope.
Great. Marvellous. Had a great time. Been a good weekend.
I feel like turning cartwheels, to be honest.
Well chuffed. Excellent. Brilliant. Couldn't be happier.
Really good. I'm glad the water was warm. Yeah.
I think it's the atmosphere, the friendship, everything. The whole town seems to revel in it. And it's an ideal venue. I mean, it's got beautiful water and good launching facilities, a nice yacht club. It's all here. It's nice to see the enthusiasm. It's really good.
The scoreboard then. It was maximums for Eddie Moyle and Brian Weston, Nick Barsh and Steve Kent, and Dave Yeoman and Kelly Ryan, with Kim Wilson and Steve Ball winning the 1.3 litres.